Buff Dude's Bodyweight Plan. Phase 1, Day 1. Are you ready? Getting started with mobility, we like to do about 5 to 10 minutes before each workout. So we're gonna get right to it because you gotta be warmed up before you start the workout. Even though this is a little bit of the beginner's phase, we still don't wanna put our bodies in any kind of precarious positions. That's actually, they're always in precarious positions, it feels like, in these kind of workouts, especially like right now. Doing the full squat, it is part of the mobility routine that you want to start with. We are doing full body, so it is going to be a full body mobility routine. The full squat is an excellent tool that you can just use pretty much any time of the day, anywhere, and it's really just going to help open up the hips. It's going to help kind of relieve a bit of that tightness in the back, so you can kind of bend your spine here, just get a little flexion in the thoracic spine, and then you can kind of go back and forth and try to straighten it out and also push out on the legs a little bit. You're gonna feel kind of a little bit of stretch in those adductors as well. So kind of sit in it for about 10 to 15 seconds, kind of release, move around a little bit, and then you can just get right back into position. And one thing you gotta do too is make sure you let your toes kind of come out a little bit just to have a bit more comfort in there. And that way you can get in that proper position. So pretty easy, simple. So once you got those squats done, the full squats, you go immediately into some frogs. It looks a little goofy. When you really think about it, a lot of exercises look a little goofy, but it's really great. We can go ahead and open up the hips here. And what you can see, I'm gonna just be sitting into really any kind of position I feel a little bit of tightness in, because what we're gonna be doing is opening up the hips. We're really getting ready so that when we perform these exercises, we're nice and warmed up. We've got that mobility finished, and we're not injuring ourselves. Like Brandon almost just did while running the camera. Wow. Mobility. Look for our cameraman mobility workout coming soon. Just act like you're making sweet, sweet love to the floor, and then you're doing those frogs, right? Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but they shouldn't be called frogs. They should be called floor love. Floor lovers. Floor lovers. All right, there we go. So, let's just check our handy guide out here. We'll be doing about 3 sets. 15 to 20 second holds on each exercise. So we've got 2 more. We're gonna hit the scorpions and the arm circles, and then this workout's gonna be underway. On to scorpions. It's a pretty badass name. In this one, especially if you're dealing with a little bit of that lower back tightness and even a little bit of mobility in the upper body too, as you'll see if you, well, let me just get into position, we'll kind of go over it. But this is an excellent tool. So you'll see a lot of athletes do this, from football players to soccer players to baseball players, you name it. So you want to kind of get that wide position in the arms, kind of like you're hugging the floor. Keep the shoulders against the floor. So as you bring this kind of like scorpion tail, one of your legs, to the opposite side here, you're going to try to keep this shoulder down to the floor as much as you can. You're going to feel it stretching your abs. You're going to feel a little bit of opening up of the chest area, and also a little bit of stretch there in that lower back too, which feels really good. And you're just gonna kind of go back and forth here, kind of whip that leg around like a scorpion tail. Ooh, yeah. And just go back and forth, kind of tap that floor with your toe. Oh yeah. And you'll immediately feel kind of that tension in that lower back start to release and feel a little bit better. So we're gonna do 3 sets, 10 reps each side. Really kind of open it up, because when you get into that squat position, if that lower back's tight, the hamstrings, the hip flexors, everything kind of connects. Once you get into these positions, you can feel a whole lot more comfortable. So, final bit of mobility on the agenda is gonna be arm circles. The blonde Jesus is coming to town. All right, getting it started with squats. Oh yeah, same exercise that we started off our beginner's phase with, but hey, it's a classic. Visualize that you're sitting in a really small chair. So I'm sitting down, boom, right back up into top position. Either a small chair or a full-size chair, but you're just such a buff dude that you make it small, There we go. Buff dude number 2. That doesn't sound so good.
It's actually works for this because it's kind of like you're sitting on a toilet taking a number 2. And I'm actually gonna be using this because if you're just starting out with squats, much like we did in the beginner phase, but if you're still having trouble getting in that right position, it's sometimes easier to kind of have a platform to kind of sit back on. So when you're coming down, just touch, right back up. So it kind of gives that nice distance and that kind of security, like Hudson was saying earlier in one of the videos that we did, the beginner phase is kind of like training wheels if you're just starting with squats. And you can see kind of putting the hands in front of you here, just a little bit of balance, but you can kind of either do it on the top of the head here or just kind of right on the hips. But for us, it's a bit more comfortable just straight out. Okay, I think I'm ready for take the training wheels off. Let's see. You can go a little bit lower too with these if you don't have something to sit down on. If you get more comfortable with it, gotta really get that used to that ass to grass squat there. Gotta keep that tension in there. Go a little bit quicker. So pacing, tempo can play an important role too. So you can either go real slow, kind of go down into position, take your time. Ooh yeah, sit back, kind of hold, squeeze the top, or speed it up a little bit, go down, right back up. Keeping that tension right in those legs, nice squeeze the top, and to really activate those glutes, push those hips through, extend, squeeze, and then you're ready to go. So I think we hit about 15 reps. 2 more sets, and then ready to move on to the next exercise.
Next exercise is gonna be the inverted row. One of the biggest questions we get is, I can't perform a pull-up, what do I do? So what we suggest, start with the inverted row. It's a great precursor to building up that upper body strength to perform a pull-up. But the great thing is, it's also an excellent exercise on its own. So in order to make it more difficult, what you're gonna wanna do is have the bar a little bit lower. We're about at the mid-range right now. So what I'm gonna do is put my body just right in front of myself, like so, and I am supporting more of my body weight. As you can see, my body's pretty straight. I'm gonna bring it right up to my clavicle or sternum, bring it back down, there we go, slow and controlled. And if you wanna make it a little easier, what you would do is put the bar higher so you have to support less of your body weight. So I'm gonna go ahead and bust down some reps. Whew, 15, yeah, a little harder than I thought. Maybe I should have had the bar higher, like I said.
One thing that you can also keep in mind when performing the inverted row is it's kind of similar positioning as a bench press as far as where your elbow placement is going to be and also where the bar tends to hit. You can go a little bit higher, like Hudson was saying, either to the clavicle or the sternum, but if you want to go to the sternum, you're going to be keeping your elbows just about a 45-degree angle to the body, bring it all the way up to that sternum, and then right back down. Just act like you're kind of like meeting your chest to the bar. That's really gonna help pull those shoulders back, get a lot more contraction in the back there, and everyone's winners. Oh yeah, inverted row.
Push-ups, probably the most classic body weight exercise. In fact, many years of our youth, I can remember tales of me and Brandon being ruthlessly taunted by Buff Dad as he held competitions in the front room where he would pit me and Brandon against each other in a Thunderdome-like brawl, and then we would finally have to face the champion, which was our dad. Surprisingly, he wanted to quit holding those competitions the day that we began to surpass him in reps. Why is that, Dad? Who wants to see a Buff Dad versus Buff Dudes push-up challenge? I do. Winner takes all.
If you've never done a push-up, which it would be hard to believe you haven't, because like Hudson was saying, it's probably one of the most famous bodyweight exercises. Because not everyone can do a pull-up, but almost anyone can do a push-up. But let's say you can't do a push-up, what do you do? Well, you can modify it a little bit by starting on your knees. So instead of on your toes, you're just gonna begin on your knees, bring yourself down, and then push straight up. Much like using a stool or a small chair for the squat, like training wheels, starting on your knees with the push-up is kind of the same way. It's kind of like training wheels until you start building up the confidence, start building up the strength, and then all of a sudden, pick the knees up, you're on your toes, bring yourself down, boom, you just did your first push-up. So in order to do the push-up properly, what you want to remember is try to keep your elbows a bit closer to the body. Don't flare them out here and then push through here. It's gonna put the shoulder in a bit of a compromised position. Could bring a little injury, could bring a little tightness, could bring kind of just discomfort in general into the shoulder joint. So keep those shoulders down and back. Bring those elbows a little bit tighter to the body and keep that chest up so that way that floor hits about the sternum area, and then push straight up. And much like we always say, when you bring it down to the bottom position, retract that scapula. It's gonna help bring that chest up. It's gonna activate a little bit more. It's gonna push through, because if you keep your shoulders forward or shoulder blades apart, you're gonna put more tension on the front of the delts here. And it's just not, you're not gonna be able to get that same positioning. Be pushing through the shoulders, the triceps. So all of a sudden, put those shoulders down and back. All of a sudden, all that body weight and all the tension is right in the chest, right where you want it. Get it nice. Pec pump.
Yeah. Little known story, a little hesitant to talk about this, but we can now because all the legalities are over. Years ago, a government agent tried to infiltrate me and Brandon. And, you know, it was really hard to tell that he wasn't a buff dude. I mean, he wore the t-shirt, he said hell yeah a lot, he grunted and flexed, single bicep slew for every single photo. So, I mean, he was passing every test. And then he went into the pull-up and he forgot to retract the scapula. Knew right there that was a motherfucker.
Retract scapula. It's the only way you're a buff dude.
Pike push-ups. This one is going to be focusing on the shoulders, and what a great exercise it is. It's a little bit like skull crushers in the way where you got to watch yourself, because if you're not careful, you can really knock that noggin. As you can see, our little seat here in order to get a little bit more elevation, but if that's not possible, you can still do it with just your body and a floor.
You nice little head high too. Get that tomato face. Remember to breathe, because you could possibly pass out. You don't want that. Excellent exercise for the shoulder and triceps. A little bit in the chest, a bit in the core too. Damn, this is good exercise.
Ending this workout off with accordion crunches. So the step-by-step, you're gonna wanna sit on the floor or a bench and lift your legs and torso so you're balancing on your hips. You're gonna crunch your abdominal muscles and bring your knees and chest together. Straighten your body out to the beginning position, and congratulations, you've just done Weird Al Yankovic's favorite exercise. Now, how was I able to break that down so eloquently? Well, because I have the Buff Dudes Bodyweight book, of course, and in it, we have tutorials for every single exercise featured in the plan. It's just so helpful, you know? Link in description. Buy yours now.
I'm just really impressed Hudson used eloquently so well.
I was put into a precarious position, but I was able to eloquently explain my way out of it. So if you've been working out or in the gym for a number of years or months, you may be thinking to yourselves, this is still a little bit of a beginner's phase, and it is, because it's just phase 1, and we want to slowly ramp up the difficulty. But we have an alternate way of performing this, which is what we're gonna do right now. It is circuits. So we're gonna do all 4 of these exercises back to back, take a 60-second break, and then do it again for 3 times. Are you ready? Yeah! Cue the Buff Dudes montage. Phase 1, day 1 of the Buff Dudes bodyweight plan is complete. We'll see you again for phase 1, day 2. Yeah. Till next time, stay buff.